Yes, so I think this is very, very important, and this will just put us in the right frame of mind. I think we need to, ask ourselves this question not just once, but a number of times throughout our lifetime. I've asked myself that question a number of times, and what have I really come to as of today? Anyways, what I have come to is that I want to be remembered really for that, that man that pushed beyond African, beyond the African markets, or essentially beyond limits, African limitations, which because we have quite a number, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. One that pushed beyond the African limitation to build brands that that essentially creates value, create wealth, and bring comfort to humanity. And of course, not missing this part, one that a very loving husband and a wonderful father to my beautiful two kids. So, but not to talk about myself, I think let's get right into it. What exactly is innovation? Of course, I'm saying this in the context of entrepreneurship. I believe that we're here today. Most of us that are here today are, essentially entrepreneurs, right? Of course, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're probably an entrepreneur. But the ultimate thing is that we all create value. So I want to make that assumption, if you permit me. But that said, what exactly is innovation? I wrote here. I would have loved if maybe we could, one or two people could, give me their own definition. But it's fine if that can happen. But what exactly is innovation? Personally, I like to make things simple because it's really all about executing and really getting results. I believe entrepreneurship is about making that change happen. So it's not really about starting it. But so here I've defined innovation as essentially making changes in something established, right? But to give us proper, a proper direction, especially as we're going to learn what we're going to be learning today, I like that we'll just spend maybe just 2 minutes to just sit down and watch this video. It will give us a proper, context to what we're going to be picking up today. So I hope we're ready. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending time to listen to that. And I'm sure we picked up, but even if we did not pick up anything, I think one thing that we should try to remember, that we should keep and stay with ourselves, is the missing dots. And I think I believe this should resonate in our heads everywhere we go. This really defines innovation. What exactly is missing? And this can be applied in any area of our lives, not just, of course, we're digging deep into entrepreneurship, into how it applies to entrepreneurship today, sharing my story and how it started from even the little things that we overlook every day. But I think that this equally helps or enhances every step of the way, or every day of our lives. It's really about that continuous quest, really, to keep searching, to keep looking. In some cases, use other people's eyes to see. But pretty much that is what innovation is all about. Just those key missing dots. And I don't want to stay too long on this, but I think let's just keep that in mind, as we go on, because I'm going to still refer to that. Here I put that, innovation, these are types of innovation. Of course, invention, extensions, synthesis. So these are just theoretical things. But I'll get right into how innovation practically, really, as to how innovation can be enhanced in our lives, really. So let me take myself as a case study. I wrote here, first step, there are three steps: discovery, validation, and establishment. But talking about myself, right? Because that the stories are always better. So pretty much when I started, my entrepreneurship journey, of course, I wanted to say I started early, but these days I know that early is because my son will obviously start. He's 4 now. My first son is 4, and okay, he's almost 5 because my wife must not hear this. So he's almost 5. But and we've started training him up on certain entrepreneurship skills in terms of giving him some tasks and different things about money. But of course, at our time, we're not really privileged to some of these things. So I wanted to say I started entrepreneurship early. But when I started, I think the key for me was really just looking around, really more about looking beyond myself, more of really caring beyond myself, and I think that really is how, I'm sure, I don't want to take us back. I'm sure a lot of us already maybe have passed this stage, we already discovered a lot of things, but usually I think this process is one that it's an ongoing process, right? We do this over and over a number of times in our life. It's not just once, right? So I think it's going to be useful to, even if you have discovered certain things, as you go on, there's always, we do this again, we repeat this process at every stage of our life, right? And so back then, let me use that as an example. What led to my major entrepreneurship journey? I've had 1 or 2 side businesses and different things, but at 17, we're back then. If I attended Obafemi Awolowo University, by the way, so I was staying in in town, and in that area, it was just one type of food that we had. It was just bread and akara, and of course, we loved it. Oh yeah, back then. But of course, after a while, it's part of our needs. We get tired of this thing. So a lot of people were just complaining, for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and different things. There was just a lot of complaints. But for me, I believe that I've always been one, which is what I think that these are entrepreneurial traits that you should check for. That essentially rather talk about solution instead of talking about the problem. And because a lot of people obviously they'll think about, oh, let me go and buy in town. Of course, there are a lot of options if you move further down and everything. But I wasn't just thinking about myself, which is what I said here. Care is that genuine change or genuine progress or genuine businesses actually born of care for humanity, or care for not just yourself, and we live in a system where, in a world whereby everybody is trying to earn a living, and forgets to live a life, because it's just all about our needs. It's all about salary. Even if you're working in fact, a lot of business owners, right? It's all about their needs. It's all about, which again is allowed, right? But I don't think one should stay there. So the point is, I started then by just trying to meet the needs of others, and it was as simple as that. And the journey over the years has proven to be very, very rewarding. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that I studied civil engineering in Ife, but I mean, for even when I worked in Venture Garden Group, that was really all that my CV was. That they cared about. Your 4 or 5 years in school, fantastic. But then, what have you done? So it was really, what we're able to, achieve. And when I even said that, really, so some people were really asking, was it in a year, my revenues, in terms of what I was able to achieve back then? Was it like, are you talking about annual or more? So it's amazing what rewards can potentially come if we actually put ourselves to meeting others' needs, which is what, takes me to the next thing, talking about validation, right? Of course, if you see a need, because now, what I'm hoping that we can do is, after now, just put up that quest in your head, like looking out for how can, that missing dot, what is missing? If you're in continuous search for what exactly is really missing, I think that, we're going to make, as a matter of fact, even in this country, if we had a lot of people that were really thinking about, what is missing, instead of just the complaints, I'm sure this country will be a lot better, but of course, usually these things are very popular, but, not, I'm looking for the right word now, but it's almost when they say in the age of information, but yet very few knowledge, so it's really not about what is out there, what is popular, what we know, but what are you really applying, and I mean, a lot of us know a lot, but what have you really executed? What are the 1, 2, 3 things out of the 101 things that what have you executed? So validation here refers to not just thinking, oh, okay, I have a solution, and you think everybody's just going to jump at it, because sometimes we probably we're in our heads, and then we feel like, I found something, so you want to get out there, you want to really find out this thing that I have, like I've written here, the market doesn't care about you. You have to care about the market. It doesn't. That's the truth. I would say that a lot of some of these brands that we have, maybe even people that we know, talk about, online, maybe social that have a lot of followers, where there's an image that that everybody sees, and that's what they want. People don't care about the real person behind it, and we've seen that a lot, except over the years, if you're able to separate your person from your character and different things like that. So, but the point is, you need to ensure that this discovery or whatever it is that you're trying to innovate on is not just in your pocket. It's not something that is something that has genuine needs, and this of course has to be validated by interacting with the market, and let me use another example here as to how I believe that I've made. Of course, there are a series of innovations in the first business, child group. It started as Easy, King. Sorry, it started as King's Fries, then King's Chow, then later Child Group. There was a lot of innovation in that process, but let me not bore you with that. Let me move also to after my VGG experience, when I came to properly started Eazypapers Technologies Limited. So how we did that was, first of all, it wasn't just about an idea. Of course, it was because my co-founder, obviously had worked in the industry for a while, in the auto industry, and he saw a very fantastic opportunity that this is an industry. I mean, by the way, we digitize an industry that was supposedly touts. If anybody ever know about vehicle documentation, When you think about vehicle automation, what you think about is, like drivers, people that do it, VIO, and like it's very unstructured, play. So, but what we did, of course, was, to build that product, for companies and also for individuals. Like if you want to renew your papers, you can, go, to a particular platform to do that. And, over the years, our interactions with the market has evolved, into really who we are. With the Eazypapers brand, we launched Easy Finance, which is also, especially, I mean, this was, one I could really call, a product of really interacting market when the chips were, yeah, I wouldn't say that was the word, but, when during COVID, of course, a lot of businesses were supposedly impacted, and the likes, and we saw that fantastic opportunity that a lot of people needed finance, right? And we thought about it, I mean, because myself and my partner, is something that we do all the time. That continuous search is, we don't play with it. It's like the 80-20 rule. You want to ensure that you're spending 20% of your time on those things that will bring about the change, that will bring about the 80% change. So we always do that. It's a culture, and I'm going to also talk about that in the final stage. How we can ensure that we are, that we build this culture of innovating. So for us, that transition, even though I'll gloss over it, in a few minutes, but it was a really deep, it was a continuous search, really, an interaction with the market, that did the transition from a much niche industry to a very big global, opportunity. So with Easy Finance now, I mean, we've also evolved, to Shekel, which we're making, I mean, which is currently fundraising and is, going global, pretty much soon, where we're serving a number of emerging markets. But of course, all this, started from first, thinking beyond us, then interactions with the markets. Yes, we're doing papers, which was fantastic, was bringing us the money. I mean, we had clients like Coca-Cola, which we're doing about 200 million, every month, every year. Sorry, I guess I'm just speaking in picture. So with Coca-Cola, then I mean, we have a lot of fleet companies that and because when I say this to people are like, okay, papers, what are you guys doing? And sometimes when they even see some of some little things that God has been able to do, that they're wondering, okay, is that really from papers? But it's just amazing when you interact with the market and you realize the opportunities are really locked in a lot of spaces that you never thought, especially when when you continuously seek, continuously find what's missing. You're not just comfortable, like, oh, you got in some money and then you're fine, or you got in your house, you have a car, you got married, and that's mediocrity mindset which we have, largely in Africa. So that obviously has helped us by really interacting markets that we have validated this. It's not just okay, oh, it's an idea. It is true validation. And how do you do that? You interact with the market, not just your brothers, not your family, not your dad, because a lot of times some people tell you, oh, don't worry, we'll buy it. Or when you know is when people are dropping true dollars to get this done. And finally, when that is being done, I think a very important part also in the process of innovation, so that you don't lose sight, is having a vision, having a picture, really. And what exactly is vision? What exactly is vision? I would say, the greatest gift that God gave to mankind really is not sight, it is vision. And it sounds so basic, but that is very profound, in the sense that a lot of people look, but not a lot of people see. And trust me, like, it's all about, what doesn't, like we said in the beginning, that, entrepreneurs or innovators bring change. It's really about beyond what you can see right now. If you're still living in the realm of, what you can see, and what you can see, what you can't see. I mean, that in itself is what already exists. But if you have to reach out beyond what you can see, right? That is what I mean here. Even I mean, I remember back then when there's nothing I do now that I've not really pictured, how it's going to be. Even I mean, and that's a very beautiful thing. Why not? If not, so dreaming is fantastic. It's free. You know how a lot of people, they can't do stuff. You can even, like start from here. Like that's a very fantastic gift. You can get to America. You can get to, not to talk about, even the internet that we have today and what we can see with it. So vision, really, when you discover you have something new, when you discover it, when you to the market, you want to ensure that you're rightly put or rightly placed, and you have a clear picture of really what it is that you're trying to achieve. That could change over time, but it is important to always have that. Otherwise, after a little bit of success, in anything, you just get carried away, and then there's no overall aim. And you find out that a lot of companies, that have, I'm sure when you think about innovation, the first thing you think about Apple, people think about, but those guys have very clear, descriptions of what it is that they are trying to do. They're doing it very well, So when I say Apple, when I say those things, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make such such changes, really, because I mean those are a number of years, a lot of resources, But I think that we can start. I mean, right here, there's a lot of I think I've said that before. Okay, a number of options, kind of innovation, but of course, the key point here is just that you can start where you are, really, as far as innovation is concerned. You don't have to wait for, there's something big. It's really just about a new way of doing something, So let me drive right in here. I wanted to say something about difference between entrepreneurship and business owner and stuff, but I'm sure a lot of us are aware of some of these things already. So let me get right into the core of today. I think that just on the back of what I just said, these are steps really in driving innovation in your organization. Mostly, as entrepreneurs that we are, but even entrepreneurs, really, if you're more of maybe like a partner, we don't all have to, have that vision. Sometimes we support somebody else's vision, but at the end of the day, the point is, what are you trying to really bring to life? What are you trying to do? What do you wake up to do every day? So on the back of what I said when I talked about vision, right? So I'm going to say this. If you want to drive innovation in your organization, the first thing is that you have to commit to the big picture. It is very, very crucial. It is very crucial. Of course, we can always start small. And I remember, my wife was asking me one time that, no, there's everybody, because she's doing very well. And I learned a lot from her, really. I'm sure she's smarter than me, a number of times. And, but she's not an entrepreneur. A lot of times we have this because she's doing well in career. She's fantastic. She ends, her salary is not, so she's doing very well, fantastic well. So, and we have this, back and forth, like, does everybody have to start this one, that one, why you're always saying this, or even if you start a business, does everything has to go global? Are you always shouting, let's go global, let's go global? What's up with this, global talk? So, but my point really here is, even if it's not, global, in quotes, what I think is that you need to be relevant globally. And what do I mean? Let's use entrepreneurship as a case study. What you want to do, and you will not get there in day one, but if a company, the question you need to ask yourself is that, if being that we're in the African market, if a company or competitor, someone that does the same thing that you do globally, if they try to come to this country, would you still exist? Would they think of acquiring you? Would they think of, I hope everyone can hear me. My sense was, okay, would they think of buying you? Would they even talk to you, or would they even consider you, or would they even see you or notice you? So I think that's how best I could describe it. A very popular example, I'm sure a lot of people kind of hearing this is, Paystack, was almost more like from day one, when there was this, okay, this is what we're trying to do. It was more like, okay, if Stripe is trying to come to Africa, because of the relevance of what they've built, is why Stripe acquires. Why waste time? These guys have already done it, especially the fact that you can leverage local, intricacies that they might not be able to see, So that's really what I mean by that, Okay, take my time. So that's what I mean by that, in terms of coming to that big picture. If you are, let me go outside of entrepreneurship. Even if you're a musician, right? You're singing, maybe your own genre of music or whatever it is that you're doing, you want to ensure that, globally, even if you're not yet a global player, like people see you almost exist on the map. And for us, even as a company, which is what, Shekel is, we're essentially, powering auto service transactions, in Africa. It's amazing, really, what is really, really possible, if you can only start. So commit to that big picture, which we have, we're making a lot of progress, now, and a lot of this is that, almost, there's a lot of leverage, I'll probably get to that in step 2. There's a lot of leverage, really, that you can, people, partnerships, different things that could enhance you. You can dream, like, you just want to understand, okay, what models already exist? Where can I plug in? Where am I? So you don't have to do everything. Commit to a big picture, a very big purpose. And then think about, okay, who do I need, to get this? Where do I need to plug in? Who has built this thing before? And it's a very beautiful world. Of course, I'm not saying you're going to get there one day. I'm not saying that you're going to get there day one. But of course, even if it's just for the sake of just pushing and driving, I think you've done yourself, a great good, to humanity. So let me move, for sake of our time, to building, to systems. So when I say, when you commit to that big picture, and you're clear that, okay, this is what overarching vision, this is what we are thinking about. This is where we think we fit, really, in the world map. This is where we fit in our industry. This is where we fit in what we're trying to achieve. No matter what you're doing, you want to keep, and I mean, I had a conversation with my friend, one time. He's also doing very well, fantastically well, in the education space. And, they just concluded, I think they concluded a seed round. They're trying to, get some things. But one of the critical things that was important to them was how exactly. So what they were doing was that they were sort of training, helping enhancing schools get better. And it was a popular question that investors were asking them, really, what exactly are you? I mean, we like the fact that you're doing this, and what exactly is bigger that you can be, And of course, I didn't even know that, but when after our interaction, it was something that we came up with, and it was great. It was more of like, okay, now, you've enhanced schools. Now what we want to do is that we want to, disrupt the school market such that, you can then, make people just like the Uber model, where you now have ordinary people, I hope I don't, let me not, because he has not fully executed that. So let me not, put the idea out there, but then again, I think that's just trying to really, beyond what you do, really. Like I said, nobody cares. Beyond what you do, how do I fit in? How best? Sometimes you need to rejig your model. It's not, I mean, we started from vehicle documentation, but now we are, if we have a financing arm, I will give. So how are they even connected? How are they connected? But one of the things is, like I said, that continuous, because when you interact with the needs of your market, especially because, and we're still very well in the auto space, and I'm not saying that you should just become a jack of all, which is part of some of the things I was going to say in business owner and entrepreneur. Sometimes, or you just have somebody, something enterprise, something co and son, doing all sorts of things, selling pure today, selling this, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having them sort of that vision, sort of in a unit system. They're still providing value, So of course, our value now is transversing through the entire automotive value chain. So, and that is really what this is all about. I think when I mentioned building systems, talking about partners, people that have done it before, and of course, it's I believe that entrepreneurship can be it can be the process of innovating, it can be a lot better. You saw the video that we had when you talked about the missing dogs, because just one meeting, with somebody, because really it's about what you see, because we can be looking at, because of our limitation in our head, because of a lot of things, when you have interactions with a few people, you just, it's just a blink of an eye. And of course, these things are not even like maybe the person is even a lot smarter than you. It's probably because of his engagement over the years. He has pretty much seen it. So it's almost, imagine you go to the village right now and, they're saying, maybe they are doing something that's in your house. That's how you do it. They think that everyone is, wow, they think you're innovative, but trust me, what did you do? You just essentially, brought what exists in a different space to this place. So trust me, guys, like, I feel like one of the things, and I think we need to dare, like, you can write to different people. You can, of course, not just emulation writing. You can, who is that person that is far from you, that you can bring them on as advisors, you can bring them on as partners, friends, a lot of things, leveraging, which is one of the strongest, tools that we have, as entrepreneurs. It's a very, very vital tool, that leverage. When you commit to the big picture, who are those guys that are going to do it? Your staff, sometimes if you can afford it, maybe you make money somewhere, you want to ensure you have that R&D, that who are the people that I can employ. That's why a lot of these companies are still working, that are living through years, centuries. They have, consultants, McKinsey, consulting for them, because, they can't see, they are good at what they do, but others, need to bring more insights, especially when you're, maybe moving into another space, industry, or what it is, I think that's really important. Leverage, whatever is available to you. If you have money, employ them, consultants, people, advisors, partners, friends, and maybe even, wives. Some of us, are lucky like so. But on a very serious note, I think that also, when you have that thing you want to achieve, and you essentially, bring on people that can help you, that is how innovation, because again, we might not be able to, get into intricacies, but of course, it's just a process that if you go through this process, a lot of finding, whatever your industry is, whatever, there are people that have been there, but not to say that, which is why to have a big picture, because if you're not careful, people will come in and give you all sorts. People will come in and try to change you and all this. So you must be very clear. That's why that is first very important. Define yourself, especially even if you don't know what you are. Define what you're not. That is very, very, very crucial. Before, I remember when we started Eazypapers, one of our investors, back then, Seed Stars, many years ago, Seed Stars, when they came to Nigeria, they actually from Switzerland, and then they said, oh, when they had Eazypapers, they thought, it was anything papers, government papers, different things, because they had the talent with respect to papers. So they thought, fantastic, this guy. So it was one of the things that even made the guys start talking to us, and which we, did never become. But of course, we're clear at the time, because you guys, especially when with the government that we have, you need to be very careful. You can't build the entirety of your business, around, that. So you need to ensure that you're very, very, very strategic. So of course, so that's where, example of know who you are, know who you're not, and ensure that you have, the people. What exactly is? It's the people that around you, the partnerships, that really will enhance these things. And when I say process here, even when you have the people, right, you want to ensure that you want to ensure that you enable, right? Because it's one thing to have the people, it's another thing to really, really enable them. Because when you talk about enabling, right? You see a lot of companies run systems that are let's say, for example, now typical Nigerian company, you have just the MD determines everything that's happening. That's usually what defines a one-man company, which is really not really entrepreneurship. It's almost more like a business owner. So, but when you have systems, you have units. So, the product team, you have the marketing team, you have the operations team. Even if one person is running two arms, based on your level, and all those things. Even if you are the one who running everything, that separation, and you understand that everything is separate from each other. So even when you are failing in the area of marketing, you're not failing in the area. So sometimes you even have your strengths. and that strength is enough. So this is talking about process, the process that enhances, the people, the partners, the whatever that you are putting in place. You want to ensure that you're very, very careful, otherwise, you stifle. I mean, because if you have organizations where, people cannot even talk, they cannot even approach the MD, they can't approach the head of the unit, they can't, they can't. I mean, how does innovation want to come? If somebody has an idea there, it's just, trying to, I can't even say it, and different things like that. So you want to build, process, you want to build cultures that enhances people to talk. Because trust me, guys, the missing dots can be anywhere. The missing dots can be found from, like just one guy, the man is saying, when people call me at this time, why not? And I'm not saying that in itself is even the answer, but you will learn a lot from there. You take that seriously. So sometimes you want to set in processes, which is why people have Monday meetings, Friday meetings. Those processes that ensure that, okay, guys, every Friday we talk about this. Friday 2 p.m. Because of course, you're busy trying to make a living, trying to earn the money, but at the end of the day, you want to ensure that you're not obsolete. You have a lot of companies that should be, because of this, they've been out of the market, by really not, learning or following through. The fact that something is selling today, we want to know, how are we going to be relevant tomorrow? I mean, so this is very important that you set, processes. The process can be, I can give you 1,001, ways you can do that, but it's really about, originality. It's really about, where are those missing dots? What can I do? What can I do? Is it time? Every Monday that, we need to be talking about these things. How we can just forget about the operation. We want to talk about, how we can get better. What are the opportunities out there? Or, how people say, it's not really about working in the business, but working on the business. So you want to set processes in place that ensures that you are working on the business, and it's amazing, number of things that can come out, from committing to that process, the process of innovation, the process of quest, the quest to keep searching, keep finding, wanting to know what is not, where we are, where we are not, that continuous interaction with the right people, with the right, systems, and with a big picture, is very, very key. Because of my time, I'll probably just round up now for questions. I think, like I said, after all said and done, you must evaluate. Like one of the people I really like to listen to one time said, every 3 months, I think is it 3 months? I think every quarter he takes a retreat off, and then he puts himself in an atmosphere to change everything. As a matter of fact, that's crazy. I've never heard that before, but he said he changes everything. His website changes every 3 months. His office, changes every 3 months. His systems, anything, name it, everything that that has to do with his business, every 3 months it changes, and that is a very, very, very good process to put in place to evaluate. Because if you're not careful, time flies. Before you know it, 2021 is gone. So those systems, it sounds very, because a lot of times we start it, but we don't get to, which is what separates us, really. And that's why you don't have to, you are not defining it. You don't even have to say something that you cannot do every quarter and involve other people, other people that, even if, 10 people cannot, even set systems in place, even if you're not, if you don't remember or what it is, at least somebody is going to. So that evaluation process, is very, very, very important. So, I hope I'm not taking too much of my time. I would have loved to say maybe, but I think with what, because at the end of the day, really, we don't have to, because everything I've said today, it could just be one thing that rings a bell. It could just be, it's really not about the information. It's just about, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do? That's the way. It's not about hearing, it's really about executing. That is what makes the difference. You see a lot of people who can say all the things, but they're not executing. That really makes the clear difference between the success stories, the people that change the world, and everyone at large. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you've picked up one or two things.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. And I think everybody on the call agrees that it was very much worth the time. And it would be great if we can get the questions right now. If there are questions that are coming in from people who are online, I'm checking the chat box. But I think a few things is said about innovation. I think for every entrepreneur, it's key. You need to be able to see the big picture. It's about knowing what the end game is and what's the game in play and what kind of player are you in the game. Those are critical steps in there. I mean, quite a number of people are not even sure what's the game that is in play. When you don't know what the game is in, the kind of game in play, it becomes difficult for you to see what the opportunities are and for you to see exactly how you can tap into the opportunity gap and how you can be able to do a lot. And so I agree with you very much that you need to see the big picture. You need to have a clear understanding on how to get there. And you need to be able to build the systems like he has evaluated to get you there. Innovation is about adapting to change. It's about looking at where are the opportunities? How do I innovate my model? How do I change my business model to be able to get there? I think those are critical things that he's brought in out there. And how you get there is basically about building your systems. You need to have a system, a strategy, a business model, okay, that allows you fit into that big picture. There must be a way in which your business makes money. There must be a way in which your business runs for you to be able to do that. And I think it's such a wonderful one that we have. And of course, innovation is something that one cannot but focus on as an entrepreneur. I mean, some people will tell you innovate or die. If you do not innovate, the chances of survival in business are quite slim, okay? And I think it's a good question we're having here. Dr. Tui is saying, how can one scale innovative business service industry in terms of offering foreign education vis-a-vis European and other West African countries admissions to Nigerians despite the crowded market? If I'll pick out the quick questions here, it's a crowded market. You want to play in the educational sector, but what you're saying is, how are you able to innovate your business such that you can offer foreign education, that's European and other West African countries, to Nigerians? So this is the question I think the person is asking, and I think, Benjamin, you can be the first to just come in on this, and then I'll add
what's the question again? Sorry. So the person is asking if, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the chat room, and he says he wants to scale or innovate his business service in terms of offering. He offers foreign education, which is basically from other European and other West African countries, that he wants to see how can he innovate because he plays in that space and he believes that's a very crowded space.
Okay, interesting, fantastic. I think that the first step, is the fact that he wants to provide value, which, like we've rightly said, he cares about a certain space, right? And I think if he thinks deeply enough, that is the genuine care is for a problem at hand, not just that, because sometimes we have products or we have ideas that we fail to find where it meets product market fit, which is essentially,
True.
where defining where it is. So how do you find product market fit? So if you have a product, if you have a solution, like I said, you validate it. So you need to have 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 customers, So by interaction with the market is where you find your sweet spot. And then what already exists really in the market. Because at the end of the day, when it is about change and it's not just about the money, that you want to make, you will really care about, you have that thing that you do very differently, because a lot of times we're just trying to do this. And if something is being done already, like I always say, personally, if something is being done already, if people already have, I don't have to do that. Why? You don't have to do the same thing. Part of it is really finding where people have not, provided the solution to. And then trust me, guys, when you do that, you'll be amazed at the number of people that want to even partner, with you. So I think when, like, to answer him, is how can one scale or innovate, to ensure that, so one thing you want to ask yourself generally is, am I doing something that if you other people are not doing? So if you find that, trust me, the people, partners, investors who want to talk to you. Scaling is not the problem. Find product market fit, and scaling would come.
Yeah, great. I think
so. I hope that answers. If
yeah,
not, I could share.
Yeah,
email.
and I think that's both eyes. It's look for the product fit. And remember, when we're innovating, it's about changing the way we do things. It's about improving the way we do things. It's about changing the strategy in which you execute what you currently do. So I think one of the ways you can look at that is, how are you currently engaging? How are you currently achieving that market fit? And how can I do it better? What are the ways? What are the plans? How can I strategize to be able to, plan and prepare for that emergence that will come in a new way? What's the new way in which I can do it? So when you ask about how to scale and innovate, it's about changing to a large extent the operating model, changing what the business model is. That's what innovation basically is about. Because when you change the business model, and business model is around how do we do it, how do we make money, how are we currently operating? If you are able to retweak that, by altering a way in which it's being delivered, altering the way in which you reach your customers, altering even the way people subscribe or people make money. It's about altering how the overall business model comes together. By altering one or two of those parts, it creates the ability to innovate. And then scalability becomes, how you are able to look at the performance metrics and able to challenge the performance metrics and make sure that you can achieve stronger operational efficiency after you operate, you've innovated. How you get better operational efficiency begins to help you to be able to scale. So yes, it's crowded. Quite a number of markets are crowded, but it's this innovation that helps you distinguish yourself from the generality of the people. And I hope both our contributions and both, what we've said will have helped create some clarity. And I mean, if you still want to a large extent, still feel to ask further, you can still drop a few comments if you think we've not hit it. But basically, it's about changing your business model, changing the way you reach out to the market, changing in looking for a stronger product market fit, irrespective of whether it's your educational sector or whatever sector you are. It's the same business model. Innovation helps you succeed in the future. Innovation is about leadership in the future, and it's about you changing the way you do things to be able to lead in the future and take advantage of the opportunity gaps. That basically is what it is. Okay. Any other question from anyone? And I like the fact, Benjamin, when you talked about connecting the dots, I think it's one thing for people to be able to, put together that hypothesis about entrepreneurship, about hypothesis testing. There's no foolproof, right? One size fits all. It's about when you say people are achieving product market fit, you need to do a lot of hypothesis testing. Is this the way to go? So, I like your journey, and I keep telling people, it's not when you start. It's not always the end in itself. You need to continue to improve and innovate. And I like how you've moved. Yes, the big picture, the big market, the dominant logic is we're in this vehicle space, but you've moved quite significantly from the papers. And I like the bit about finance. But the question I'd like to ask is, what was the need you saw or that you uncovered that made you go into the financing part? Because it's a clear departure from documentation and ease of documentation and helping create visibility and helping efficiency around papers and documentation to vehicles, to now moving to, to a large extent, a non-linear innovation around financing, which it's a departure from the core. How were you? I mean, it's a departure from the core, but it fits to the core. How were you able to say that? How did you uncover that? Were you just doing hypothesis testing and validating, or it was a eureka moment? Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Of course, this came about from continuous interaction, like I said, with customers. And let me give you an example. During COVID, when there was a lot of money issues, people didn't have, so it was it was a lot of, you call people because we have a system in place where, we operate, below the line, we have database of call quite a number of people. We have a call center, call people, your papers are expired, different things like that we do every day as far as that's concerned. Beyond that, also we serve, the fleet markets, the companies. But one thing we kept, hearing was the fact that, I don't have money. I'll pay at the end of the month. There was a lot of talk of, because someone wants to do papers, 100,000, new registration, different things. I don't have money. I'll pay at the end of the year. And these are people that we know that, over the years, they've been our customers. We've been serving them, right? So we saw the need for the fact that, so instead of us if we're just thinking about like, this one doesn't have money to pay. But the next thing we thought about was, okay, this guy doesn't have money, but he's a good person. We know him, he's competent. He has. So what next? How can we? At the time, we wasn't like we had prior experience. Myself and my main partner, of course, we had our finance guys, but the co-founders didn't really have finance experience. But it was more like this thing that saying we can't just let it go. So that was how. And of course, in the companies that we serve, most of these guys, they give they pay for 5 days, 90-day cycle. So of course, we were already even doing that for the B2C space, for the corporate market. Coca-Cola pays us like for 5 days. So those type of things, we were already in that. We're already even doing it before we even sort of saw it. But B2C clearly it was a problem that these guys were saying, we don't have money, Like we can't just. So that was how of course, maybe but because of time, let me not. But that was just really.
Yeah, I find that quite interesting because as entrepreneurs, the easiest way and one of the key ways to innovate is about hypothesis formulation and hypothesis testing. It's about thinking through and asking, is there an opportunity here? And most times is when we investigate those opportunities, like you said, you're already funding and financing the process for B2B. And all you had to do now was to look for another channel and then be able to formalize, put in better structures and find out that you created a new dominant logic. So your dominant logic, which was your way you were doing the business, the way you were making money, was just get the papers and get paid. But hey, there was something else around here. We could create a new income stream, alter the business model a bit and all that. And that's what I keep telling people about business and diversification, that it's not always something out of the blues or something that you need to go to a mountain and fast for 7 days and the heavens will open and you hear a loud voice. It's usually about looking at your processes and seeing how you to improve. And thank you very much, Benjamin. And I think it's been a great session. And therefore, to everyone on Techbiz, it's exciting to have had you guys be with us for another 1 hour where we've had my friend and a good facilitator and prolific entrepreneur, Benjamen Oladokun, talk to us about how to use innovation to drive our business as entrepreneurs. And I think that innovation is a critical part of what Eco-Innovation strives to drive. It's the core of who we are, from our name to our mission and everything we do. And even the startups we engage with are basically startups that use innovation and technology at the core of their business operations. Techbiz, of course, is teaching you about the business of technology, a flagship platform, Eco-Innovation Center. I want to thank everyone who has kept a date with us again today on Techbiz. And I look forward to be able to welcome you next week again, where we'll have another prolific guest who will be speaking to us. This recording, as well as every other recording, is available on our website, www.icenter.com/webinar, and my colleague has posted that in the chat room. And of course, should you have questions, most of the facilitators are also on our Telegram forum, and my colleagues are posting the link. You can just, through that link, join the Telegram forum, and you can be able to ask any questions, clarifications, even outside of the official 1 hour in which we have the Techbiz and we have our speaker speaking and we're asking questions. And of course, we will be able to respond to you promptly because every one of us is part of that community. And we do hope that that community continues to add value to you beyond the 1 hour that we spend together. I want to say thank you for keeping the date with us. I remain your host and the founder of Eco-Innovation Center, Victor Bengafalabi. Thank you, and do have a fabulous weekend starting from tomorrow. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you for keeping the date.